This is Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life on a Monday morning, a money making Monday morning, as we love to say. This is the Smooth Breakfast, Ayo here. And it's that time to take you into the world of business on Business Express. You can join us on the conversation, as always, by sharing your thoughts with us on WhatsApp. Send those messages in. We love to hear from you. 0809 444 0981 0809 444 981. That is the WhatsApp number. Also streaming live on YouTube. You can find us at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. You can drop a comment for us there as well. This morning, we're going to be taking a look at African economies in the wake of a Trump presidency. Hey, it's no longer news that Donald Trump is heading back into the White House, and we're looking at what that means for economies right here in Africa. Joining me to have that conversation is Eden Harris. She is a special correspondent for Connecting Africa, joining me from Washington this morning. First of all, Eden, good morning to you. And I have to say a special good morning as well for, staying up this late on your end to join me on the conversation. Absolutely, absolutely appreciate that.
Well, good morning, and I'm happy to be with you guys and give you an update.
Absolutely. So let's jump right into the group of things. Now, looking at the results of the elections, it seems like the economy was the number one issue that propelled Trump to victory. Now, from where I'm sitting now, can you actually speak to that? Is that accurate?
Yes, it is accurate. The economy is, and the economy was, and it is a big problem and big issue area for voters who went out to have their voice heard, and that is through the ballot box. Um, Here are some quick numbers. When keeping in mind that no president directly controls inflation or the cost of goods, but this is something that a lot of voters were looking at, just like simple things like the cost of eggs. Eggs when Trump left office were at $1.48, and now currently under the Biden administration, they are averaging out at $3 per dozen. That's something that folks consider when they're thinking about who should I vote for? Like, how am I spending my money? Like, is most of it going toward groceries or is most of it going toward rent? So those are issues that were top of mind of the voters who were going out and picking who they want their next president to be, and that was Donald Trump.
Right, right, right. Now, speaking about that, it tends to happen that the better the U.S. economy actually does, the more money that Africans who are living right out there can send home to their respective families, countries, and so on and so forth. Now, do you have any confidence in that happening under, President Trump's second coming right now?
Yeah, so here's how it will work. So as the economy shifts due to Trump coming in from a less regulatory government, that's going to encourage business owners to list more jobs and hire people. Now, it may look like it will be him controlling the economy as this awesome businessman and this awesome leader. But the new environment that he will create will allow business owners and folks to operate with less accountability, thus creating more jobs for people who are currently in America to be able to send money back home. So that will be the Trump effect while he's in office.
It's actually very interesting that you bring up you bring up jobs and all that because I was actually going to talk about job opportunities for legal immigrants. Now, some Africans living right here on the continent have expressed optimism that a Trump presidency will open up opportunities for legal immigrants to actually get jobs. Do you agree with that sentiment, especially where Donald Trump's views on immigration and all that actually stand or actually are?
I don't have much of an opinion. I have more of an analysis and also like looking at my reporting. Um, you have people who will come in with the same ideology as the former president. And that ideology basically says that people who come from third world countries are not good. The former administration has been quite clear on how they feel about immigrants. Just recently, Don Jr. said that having people come in from a third world country will make America a third world country. He doesn't view it as good. So when it comes to the rhetoric or even the idea about people coming in from a third world country, it doesn't look like
Mm.
that will be a priority. It looks like they will prioritize folks who come from Europe or though Asia is like technically a third world country, they may prioritize it. But according to the rhetoric from Trump and his son, Don Jr., folks who come from third world countries are not good for America because they are, quote, asshole countries.
I don't, I don't even know where to actually begin to unpack all that. So, does that mean that, I mean, anyone who had any such thoughts before, at this point in time, they need to, should I say, re-strategize or rethink whatever it is that they plan to do in terms of immigration and so on.
Well, I was actually looking at your program and the reporting that you guys have done, and I saw in the past that there was a discussion about romance scams, being that it will be harder to get in the US when Trump is in office due to where folks may originate from, scams
Mm.
may kick up. There may be an uptick in folks coming from countries that don't have the resources that the US have. They may be trying really hard to find a way to get into the country. So that's where I will leave it.
Okay, okay. Now let's talk about aid. U.S. aid actually, U.S. aid Africa actually has been vital for sustenance of the poor. Unfortunately, we find ourselves in that boat. But do you think that this will be maintained under a Trump presidency, or is that going to be, should I say, butchered and scattered all over?
Everyone is waiting to see what Trump policies will look like toward Africa. But here's what I do know. African nations are currently working with lobbyists in DC to get FaceTime with Trump. So far, oh, excuse me, according to reporting, there was countries like Kenya, Uganda, Chad, they're currently in touch with Republican lobbyists just to let Trump know that they're on his side and seeing what it is that he can do that will benefit the country. But I'll tell you one thing, it will be a transactional relationship with the
Of
president.
course.
Him priding himself as a businessman, like he wants the best deal for America in his words, and he wants to bring in the best talent and put financing toward the best federal programs that will have a good return for the US. So it's all transactions. It's not the same rhetoric as the Biden Harris was putting out there, which was toward Africa, like what is it that Africa can do for us? It's more so um, the language is different with Trump.
Okay, so basically it's a I scratch your back, you scratch my back sort of situation. Nobody should be under any illusions. It is all business at the end of the day. So that being said, what areas of collaboration do you see between the US and African nations off the back of that?
Well, collaborations, it will be if the incoming administration wants to follow through with Biden's promises with driving more tech um, infrastructure in places like Kenya and finding ways to work with the continent on improving their healthcare system and finding ways to do educational exchange programs with HBCUs in the US. We aren't sure what will come from this incoming administration, but experts on the ground in the US and also on the continent are hoping that it will be one of partnership and collaboration and not viewing the continent as a body that needs aid and that is poverty stricken.
All right. Now let's talk about development in Africa. I mean, when you look at the need for development in Africa, which is a huge thing. From your perspective out there in the US, what do you think the number one priority should be for African government?
I don't like to give my opinion. I like to stick to analysis. So I'm just going to do what the former immediate vice president of Nigeria, Oluyemi, also known as Profess, what he told me. He says that he wants the world as a whole and also Nigeria to focus on investing in their human capital. And that will help address the climate change issues that the continent is currently experiencing by no fault of their own. There's research out there that shows that Africa emits the less greenhouse gases, but yet they bear the brunt of the after effects. So, as the former VP of Nigeria said, investing in that human capital, getting them education, that's how they will be able to address issues that arise on the continent.
All right. Investing in human capital is very key. All right. Let me take a couple of messages as we round up on the conversation this morning. This is coming in from Gilbert Musa. He says, on Trump's impact in Africa, taking Nigeria as a case study, I see little or no impact. The reason is in 2016, from 2016 to 2021, Nigeria struggled with increasing inflation and local businesses or SMEs struggling to survive. And Tayo says, I hope Nigeria witnesses something better in Trump's second coming because all his unprintable remarks from his first term are still on paper. The US has a global economy and its success can be of benefit to other economies to link in for business. Until then, we're watching. And he's dropping a popcorn emoji. I see you, Tayo. Anyways, we have to wrap it up on this of the show this morning. Thank you so much, Eden, for joining me. As we get out of the studio, I mean, just give your final thoughts this morning.
I think from what I'm seeing on social media, from what I'm hearing from my sources, some Nigerians are in support of Trump. And I've seen them show that expression of openness toward him. He is a president, a former president, and a person who loves for his subjects to admire him and give him compliments. So seeing that the country
Mm.
is open to what he may bring in the future, if it's positive, may spark some interest in the country beyond what he has done in the past with Prosper Africa and then having those initiatives that could help improve the continent. So we're just looking and waiting on what comes and what his cabinet will look like.
All right, all right. Thank you for sharing those thoughts. I've been talking with Eden Harris, special correspondent for Connecting Africa. It's been a pleasure having you on Business Express this morning.
So thank you.
All right. And thank you all for sharing your messages with us. Keep it tuned to Smooth 98.1 and the Smooth Breakfast. The show continues. More great music coming your way as we journey to 7:30 and taking a look at the papers on Freshly Pressed. And it's a wrap. Thank you so much,
All
Eden.
right. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Bye.